Hi everyone, welcome to HLP 1080 Total Wellness. This is week one, where we're talking about taking charge of your health and what that means for you. So, the first thing I want us to focus on is being present. There's a time where we can really go into autopilot. We have a million things on our brain, work, school, health, kids, and we don't take the time to be present. So, before we start our presentation, I want us just to take 10 seconds to notice our mind, your body, your spirit, and what's one word that you could help describe it. So, I'm going to take 10 minutes just to do some breathing. Hopefully, you follow along with me and you feel what it is to actually feel present in your body physically right now. Just taking 10 seconds before you drink your cup of coffee, before you go on a drive, before you have a meeting, before anything, calms your nervous system. It can calm any anxiety, and it's something that I really recommend for us to actually feel what is in our body. So, what is health? Health is a state of complete well-being. It includes physical, emotional, spiritual, social, intellectual, and environmental dimensions. What is wellness? It's deliberate lifestyle choices characterized by personal responsibility and optimal enhancement of physical, mental, and spiritual health. So, wellness is, for example, eating organic, not eating any processed food. That is when wellness can take a part in that. And we have a lot of different dimensions of health. I am going to go into the definitions of each of them briefly, just because I think it's super important. And health is defined not just by one sector of life, it's defined by multiple sector of life. So physical health, for example, in the 1913 Webster's Dictionary, it defines health as a state of being hale, sound, or whole in body, mind, or soul, especially the state of being free from physical disease of pain. So your physical health is, do you have high cholesterol? Are you overweight? Are your lungs healthy? Can you breathe to the certain, can your lungs, excuse me, expand with your breathing as they should? Those kind of things count as physical health, and not having pain, so a broken foot would be not the best physical health state. Emotional health. It encompasses our psychological and mental state, that is, our feelings and our thoughts. It involves awareness and acceptance of a wide range of feelings in oneself and others, as well as the ability to express emotion, to function independently, and to cope with challenges of daily stressors. Spiritual health, spiritual, healthy individuals identify their own basic purpose in life. They learn how to experience love, joy, peace, and fulfillment, and to help others and others achieve their full potential as they devote themselves to others' needs more than themselves. Spiritual development is a whole different journey on itself, but it is part of the health. So, social health, it refers to the ability to interact effectively with other people and in your social environment to develop satisfying interpersonal relations. So, that includes coworkers, your lover, your family, your friends, different acquaintances that you encounter in life. Intellectual health, it's every day you use your mind, every day you use your brain to gather and process and act on information, to think through your values and make decisions, to set goals for the future and figure out how to handle a problem or a challenge that may come upon you. And it's your ability to think and learn from life experiences. So this is your choices, your effects. How do things work and how can they affect you? You know, when you make different choices in life, they can really affect your intellectual health. If you're taking a course, if you're taking a kind of a degree that doesn't fit what you want, it could be affecting your intellectual health. Environmental health, the first thing that everyone should think of is COVID. It's your physical and social settings that can affect you. What's around you? Are there germs around you? That's the environmental health. Is your area heavily polluted? That's also environmental health. Occupational and financial health, super important. How do you make your money? How do you survive? Most college students are surviving on a part-time job, or I know our students are a little bit different, so maybe they're surviving on a main resource job, but it's important to see how financial affects your health as well, and how being financially unstable could really affect you. Community health, this includes complex interrelations between one person's health and the health of the community. So, for example, if you're sick and you're going out and you're spreading the sickness, that's not great for community health. How can we make the community better? You know, it's smoke-free policies is a great way of showing that community health is being acknowledged. Those places that have smoke-free places because, secondhand smoke is horrible for you. So those are just a little bit of the different dimensions of health. The power of prevention. So empower your health. It starts with awareness. So the most important thing is prevention. So information and support offered to help healthy people identify their health risks, reduce stressors, prevent potential medical problems, and enhance their well-being. So how do we prevent stuff from occurring? The number one thing is invest in yourself. Go to the gym, go to the doctor, eat healthy. How do you protect yourself? By knowing that you're taking medicine, you're doing your vaccines, you're making sure that you're following any protocols that there may be necessary. Inform yourself what's healthy, what's not healthy, what's okay for you to consume, what's not okay for you to consume. If you're feeling weak, maybe it's because you're low on iron. So it's informing yourself of your body as well and how your body physically is doing and understanding yourself. Maybe you need more iron, but you don't like to eat meat or you're vegetarian. It's understanding how you can still fulfill something without having to sacrifice something else. And all of that helps prevent a weak or a low state of wellness. We want to always be high and make sure that we're healthy. So SMART goal setting. This is super great to use whenever you're setting up a goal. So SMART is broken up into an acronym. So specific, what is my goal? Is my goal to eat healthier? Is my goal to lose weight? Is my goal to sleep better? Is my goal to graduate? Measurable. How will you track your progress? Are you tracking how many hours of sleep you're getting? Are you tracking your calories? Are you tracking how much you're writing in a journal? Achievable. Is your goal realistic? Can you lose 200 pounds in a month? No, that's not realistic. Could you possibly lose 5? Could you lose 10? Yes, so it's important to be realistic when you're setting your goals because when we're not realistic in setting those goals, then that's when we fail and we give up. If we are realistic and we say every day I'm going to have 2 gallons of water, that's realistic. That's probably something you could do. Relevant. Does your goal align with your overall plan? So, for example, if your overall plan is to be a bodybuilder, is your goal of losing weight helping you with that? If your goal is to be a lawyer, is you not going to school helping you with that? So it's important that whatever goal you're trying to achieve, it is helping you with your overall plan. If you don't have an overall plan of what your life is or what your life wants to be, that's okay. But it's important to think about the future and to think about how you're going to achieve these certain things. And time bound, give yourself a deadline. We have deadlines and everything. Your homework has a deadline, your bills have deadlines, signing up for things have deadlines. Give yourself a deadline because when you honor the deadline that you give yourself, you should have no problem honoring any other deadline in your life. Mental health. Mental health is one of my favorite topics to talk about as we continue on in society. It's becoming a more relevant thing, and the most important relationship you'll ever have is a relationship you have with yourself. The relationship you have with yourself will determine every single thing, every single relationship that you have moving forward, everything that you do, the way you put your energy into things. When you don't have a great relationship with yourself, it really affects you. So, what is mental health? It's the ability to perceive reality as it is and its response to challenges and to develop rational strategies for living. So, how do you deal with anxiety? How do you deal with someone that's maybe screaming at you? How do you function in a loving relationship? How do you function in a toxic relationship? How do you deal with stressors in life? So, culture is a big part of mental health. It's also a part of emotional health because there's differences in cultures and it can extend um, foreign to health practices that may influence how many people recognize illness or treatment and view overall. For example, in a Hispanic household, being sad or being depressed, it's kind of not okay because, a lot of our parents migrated and they had to work 3 to 4 jobs and they couldn't sit and be depressed and be sad like some of us can. So culture is a really big part of mental health. More cultures are getting developed with mental health, but there's a lot of cultures that ignore it. And I know Hispanics, speaking from personal experiences, as I am a Hispanic first generation woman, that is a really big thing. Mental health is not super reflected upon. And self-esteem. You're worth it, you can do it, and you're okay. Making sure that you know that whatever you want in this life, that you're worth it. Because if you don't feel like you're worth anything, you won't get anything. And that's just the reality, unfortunately. So mental health is extremely important to preserve and to make sure that you take care of. If you don't address mental health, it does lead to the physical, and we do explore that in chapters to come. Okay, so Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is a triangle that Maslow developed, and he stated that there are different needs to make an entire person. There's different levels of wellness. So, for example, physiological needs. What are those? That's food, water, shelter. Are you fed enough? If you're starving and you don't know how you're going to get a meal tomorrow, and you can't figure out how you're going to pay your bills, or you don't know if the rain is going to leak through the roof, there's no way you're even thinking about self-actualization and about the career that you want and about the different goals that you want in life. You're not thinking about that because your physical needs are not being met. And the way the triangle works is it stacks on top of one another, and it's very important that all of these levels be met to achieve full fulfillment in life. So that's base one. Base two, safety and security. Do you feel safe? Do you feel like you're going to be robbed at night? Are you sleeping in a cave that could be attacked by wolves? These kind of things, if you don't have those basic things, you can't move on to the next level. So the next two levels are psychological needs, excuse me. So love and belonging. Do you have love in your life? Do you have a family that loves you? Do you belong to a culture? Humans are social creatures. We are social creatures. We belong to the world. We need experiences. We need communication. We need to connect with people. If we don't have love and belonging, that affects our self-esteem, which is the next pillar. Self-esteem, how do you view yourself? How do you love yourself? How do others view you? And how does that make you feel? Self-esteem determines how we can show ourselves to the world. And if we have low self-esteem, more than likely we're not showing the best version of ourselves to the world. And then the last component is the self-fulfillment needs, self-actualize. How do you know that what you want in life is correct? When you're living life, it's important to realize that there's different levels, and everyone has a purpose and everyone has a goal, and it's important to identify your purpose. And you cannot identify your purpose in life if you don't have the rest of the stack of the triangle. And happiness leads to a longer life. The conclusion of this entire chapter is that you need to be happy. You deserve to be happy. And the only person that's in charge of your happiness is yourself. The only person that can make you happy is you. We do, as humans, try to fill the void with others, with things. Maybe that'll make us happy. But the reality is, like I mentioned before, the most important relationship you will ever have in this lifetime is with yourself. And it is extremely important to feel happy with you and to be happy with the choices you make. And if you're not happy with them, to change them, to make those changes that will make you better. Spiritual. Believe in someone or something that transcends the boundaries of self. Whether that's God, whether that's your own, deities, whatever it is that you believe in, it's important to believe in it. And you can start small, being connected to the spiritual realm, sitting outside, sitting quietly, quieting your brain, meditating, activities such as yoga that help you connect to your body, trusting your gut, that intuition. When you're taking an exam and you think it's B and then you end up putting C, but it was actually B, that's trusting your gut, learning to listen to yourself, and practicing whatever it is that you think is spiritual, whether that's journaling, reading cards, reading the Bible, praying, whatever it is that you do, it's important to be connected to that spirituality because that is what connects us as well. It's not just physical, it's not just health, it's not just emotional, it's not just spiritual. It's all three things together that combine us and make us a better human and completely have a different level of life that encompasses the total wellness. So really that is what we're breaking into this course. Every week we'll dive into different chapters, we'll dive into different sections of life, but wellness is not just one thing, and you cannot have wellness when you're missing one component. So as we continue on in this course, we will continue to learn about ourselves physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And any questions or concerns, my email is always open to everyone. I want to keep this a safe space where everyone can feel comfortable expressing their ideas and sharing their thoughts. I do get into some topics that could be a little bit controversial for some people, but this is all coming from an educational standpoint. And I hope that everyone is respectful of that. So thank you all so much for listening to my first lecture. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, and I'll see you all next week. Take care.